My name is Bernd Zechmann. I'm the director of the Center for Microscopy and Imaging at Baylor University, and I lead the daily operations of this core facility. I joined Baylor University in 2014. I think it's really a good privilege to be able to be a researcher and a Christian at the same time, and to be able to live my Christian faith and also share it with students and faculty and help them to grow spiritually.
My name is Kayla Haberman Marek, and I am a fourth-year doctoral candidate in the Tauby lab at Baylor. We are studying epigenetic regulation in breast cancer. So personally, this topic brought me here because I am a woman and breast cancer affects us primarily. And my grandma actually had breast cancer and a double mastectomy when I was growing up. I am a Waco native, and so I have come back home after I did my undergrad and my master's to not only be close to family, but also to study a topic that is near and dear to my heart. Being a Christian school is something I personally value, putting the emphasis on knowing how this world is beautifully and wonderfully made, and it's our job to get to understand it through His creation, right?
I'm Jonathan Klinger. I'm an assistant professor and Separate Scholar in the Chemistry and Biochemistry department. My wife and I met in Houston while I was doing my Ph.D., and so coming back to Texas was really nice for us. The department was really welcoming, and I really liked meeting all the other faculty members. I thought there was a lot of things that we could do together here that'd be really exciting.
My name is Zhenrong Zhang, and I'm a professor at physics. This is like a dream come true that I can stay at the university in a Christian environment.
The Center for Microscopy and Imaging was established in 2014 in its current form. It was built on the foundation that was laid by Ian Rushing, who was a biology professor. And since 2014, we've invested about $15 million worth in equipment.
The CMI was a little, and we didn't have too many toys that we can use to characterize our samples.
The Transmission Electron Microscope is used currently by about 50 users, and they come from 25 different research groups and 6 different departments. The departments of biology, chemistry, environmental sciences, physics, engineering, and also human health and performances.
The interdisciplinary experience is quite unique, and that's something that you kind of strive for, not only as an R1, but as a researcher in general. Being able to use these different disciplines to help understand your topic is quite critical.
So when I learned that it was going to be installed when I came here, I was really excited about that because it's a really nice microscope and it allows you to resolve things that would be very challenging to resolve otherwise. It having a really nice electron gun combined with a detector that I helped purchase out of my cancer research money really makes it a state-of-the-art microscope.
My name is Kusumo. I'm a third-year behavioral neuroscience student in the psychology Ph.D. program. What drew me here to Baylor initially was hearing about the intersection between science and faith. This was in high school, and so I came to Baylor for undergrad and loved it so much, decided to stay here. So I started working on the TM the summer of my second year into my PhD. The first time I saw it, I definitely was thinking I'm going to break this. TM has, one, helped me a lot with my dissertation proposal, helped me to gather the preliminary data I needed. So I work with mouse models and I look at brain samples. So being able to see the cells in the brain at that kind of detail is, my first thought was, oh wow, the Lord is so good.
I will say I was first trained on the old TEM. It was a manual crank. You had to manually move the machine left or right, up and down throughout your samples. But with this new transmission electron microscope, it's almost all automated. It's much more efficient. It's easy to use, easy to understand. But with that said, you need to understand the basics of what's driving these different things. So my first exposure to the TEM was actually during the Transmission Electron Microscopy course that Dr. Zechmann teaches every other spring. I had never heard of a transmission electron microscopy before. I was interested in how can we analyze cells on a high resolution structure. Not only did we fix other people's samples in different departments and disciplines, but we were also able to fix my own samples.
One of the really cool things about this microscope at Baylor is that mostly this level of microscope is run by a technician somewhere else. So the students would prepare their samples and then either ship it to the technician running the experiment or hand it to the technician running the experiment, and they get their data back on a hard drive. And so it's really rewarding to me to be able to train my students on how to load things into the microscope, how to handle samples, how to run the microscope and do data collection, which is complex and challenging, but really important for their growth so they can leave here and be able to do all of these things somewhere else.
I think the new Transmission Electron Microscope had a tremendous impact on research quality, research quantity, research initiatives, and also research collaborations. The usage is between 3,000 to 4,000 hours every year. It is a very important part of 6 classes. It is featured in many workshops, and we give about 50 tours per year. And every semester I have double the amount of students that would like to take the class than seats available.
They are so devoted into research, and you couldn't drag them away from the lab.
The training is arduous. Bernd has them schedule a full week to just get trained on just manipulating the microscope, and then for doing the kind of work we do, it takes an additional week or 2 after that.
Zechmann's amazing support, goofball he is. He really makes you feel seen as a researcher and gives you value and worth to what you're doing.
I'm Tammy Adair. I am a senior lecturer in the Department of Biology, and I'm a director of undergraduate research in the Office of Engaged Learning. I was an undergrad here as a transfer student after I married and finished my biology degree, and then I came back after our children were all in school and did my Ph.D. here. A wonderful tool to have for our what we call CPHASEs, so Science Education Alliance phage hunters. So what these students do is they have the opportunity to isolate a virus, a bacterial virus from the soil, take a prep of it to the electron microscope, and Dr. Zechmann helps them see it on the screen, and they take pictures of it and measure the tail so it looks like a little space pod.
Researchers have now capabilities that they didn't have before. They can do 3D reconstructions of proteins, cryo-EM, atomic resolution imaging.
Also from the recruiting point of view, that is huge. In the last several years, we are able to hire or recruit top scientists in the material science. And one, that's the instrumentation. The first question they ask is, do you have SEM? Do you have TEM?
The vision for excellence in teaching and excellence in research going hand in hand. Baylor really does that great.
We are not someplace that's playing around and doing research or only kind of doing it or struggling to. We can do really excellent things here. My advice to everybody that's young is you have time. Find what you like. I didn't know what I wanted to do until, when I started as undergrad, I was an engineering major, decided I didn't want to do that, changed my major like 2 or 3 times. And even when I went to graduate school, I did not go to graduate school to do the thing I ended up doing.
I cannot give any bigger advice than just say try it. Research, I think by definition, is researching and investigating the unknown. And so that is failing. I think hearing my professor say that, at first I'm like, it's not okay. I've never failed before. Hearing their experiences too, that they have failed, and they are doing amazing now, and they're wonderful professors at Baylor.
We're one of 2 schools in the United States that has access to an instrument with such a high resolution. So if you get the opportunity to even shadow a graduate student or another lab, take it, right? Don't wait on the opportunity to pass you by.